from my perspective, I think the front line now for marketing is consent. So when I first joined the industry back in 1986, we just discovered the concept of lifetime value. And what that meant is, if you understood how much profit you were to create from a customer for the life of your relationship with that customer, you could then invest appropriately in acquiring customers at a profitable rate. And it turned us from being retailers into database marketeers. So you had the likes of Tesco setting a path and lots of other people following. But that was in the days when we could talk to anyone about anything under any circumstances. And in fact, going back then, I was working for a national newspaper and I would hide the opt-out box then. No one would, or few people would find it, and the level of consent achieved was very, very low. You obviously can't do that now. The world has changed. So now it's about your first job is to acquire consent. And I think that is the job of the marketeer. So here's a slightly pretentious phrase. So in a world of startling change, the first duty of the government remains the security of our country. This was in the UK government national security document in 2010. I think the consent is now the first duty of the marketeer. In a communications world of startling change, the first duty of the marketeer is now to generate enough marketing consent for a brand to survive. That's not to say that lawyers shouldn't set the line, but then it's up to the marketeers to become engaged with that process and articulate that line in the most compelling way. So back in 1988, when I joined the industry, there was the concept was, what is the value of a new customer? And there was a guy called Professor Merlin Stone, he's still around, he invented this concept of lifetime value. Now, I think the question is, what is the value of consent? And it's interesting to listen to Jane there, the amount of sheer analysis that went into that monumental decision to move from opt-in to opt-out and change the nature of consent. So to sort of encourage this debate as a bit of a catalyst, if you like, I'm concerned that a lot of companies and brands are thinking about consent in a very simple way, a very legal way, and not thinking about it at a granular level. And these poor trustees in the charity sector and other boards have been asked to make extremely strategic and commercial decisions off the back of very little information. And so I'm passionate about enabling informed decisions to be made. So what we've done to sort of help with that, we've created a calculator on our website. It's free to use. You can even download all the formula. The Professor Merlin Stone has looked at the numbers. They all work. But the principle is, if you put in certain metrics, you can measure the marginal impact of an increase or a decrease in consent. And you can then explore different consent strategies, if you like, and make an informed decision. Or at least get the trustees or the board to provide them with information so they can help with that informed decision. So it's on the website. You can have a play with it if you so wish. So we are a research company, and we have researched hundreds and hundreds of permission statements, every conceivable format across thousands of respondents. And this is just a little bit of evidence, I suppose, to demonstrate that consent means different things for different people. It may be a universally legal concept, but to individuals, to consumers, to donors, it means different things. So first thing is the level of consent. So what you see here, we simply ask people, how often do you consent to marketing? And you can see that 70% of those people over the age of 55 consent less than 20% of the time. Now, in the commercial world, there's a concept called share of wallet. And what that means is that there's only so much money a consumer will have to buy handbags or bikes or cars or whatever it is they've got a passion about. And as a brand, you're competing for that limited amount of cash. You're in competition. It's the same with consent. Individuals will not consent to every brand. Not now, because you're not hiding the opt-out box. You're getting them to agree to your marketing. You're marketing your marketing and getting to agree to it. So you're competing for all this consent from donors. And my background is I was in the media world, and I have to say I am amused and irritated and impressed and all the rest of it about the way that charities share often very confidential information and strategies, because actually they're all in competition. And the idea that you're sharing permission statements and strategy and all that, this is your USP, the way you articulate your marketing. You're competing for other charities or for donors to consent to you.